Okay,
99 problems, but an intro is not one.
One.
Sorry, Terry.
Thanks.
Andrew is here today to teach us everything you ever wanted to know about VS Code. Are you ready, Andrew?
I'm so ready. I'm so ready. This is a great year to learn VS Code because everyone's learning PowerShell this year, including Terra. And VS Code is one of those things where, yeah, we can use it for PowerShell, which is really powerful, but it can be used for a whole bunch of other things. And once you get this tool underneath your belt, it will grow with you throughout your career. Can you share the screen on? Let me know when the screen's shared and I can show a few things here.
Oh yeah, we're showing some stuff. Here we go.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
That's
All
it.
right. Let's click a little zoomy zoom in here. Boom, boom. Well, sorry, let me figure out how to do this. There you go. A little bit bigger for us. Okay. Set a little bit of context. What the heck is going on here? Well, we're looking at VS Code. Why would we use VS Code? Well, there's this thing called the PowerShell ISE, which is built into Windows. You know, you can use it. It works. And if you're in the spot where this is really intimidating, you're not actually running any PowerShell yet, no worries, use the ISE. But at a certain point, you're going to want to do more. You're going to want to be moving to what is actually supported, what is not deprecated, and what can be used with PowerShell 7. Again, if you're a super beginner, just run some PowerShell, get things to work. We'll go on from there. But VS Code is where it's at. Let's talk about what we need to get installed, because there's a few things that we're going to need beforehand. And I won't walk through all the installs because hopefully you'll know how to install things. And you can use actually PDQ Connect for some of this. So let's take a little gander here. A couple things you're going to want to install. VS Code, believe it or not. We will need that to use VS Code. I think it's actually called code or something in here. Boom, boom. Wow. It's a great day for typing. Yeah, Visual Studio Code. There you go. There's also this thing called PowerShell 7. Again, if you're ready for that, this is a great experience for it, and you cannot use that in ISE. And the last thing that we're going to get, and you don't even need to know about it yet, but you're going to want it there for the future, it's Git. We've covered it on the webcast in the past. It's pretty powerful, but also, again, you don't need to have everything figured out before you get started. If it's there, there's some integrated things that can take advantage of it, which I recommend you check out. The last mandatory thing, before we get into a bit of a guide of what we're even looking at here, is the PowerShell extension. So if you open up VS Code on the left-hand side here, it says extensions. That's how you, I don't know, extend. It's kind of like Chrome extensions, same kind of thing, Chrome plugins. Yeah, we get one called PowerShell. It basically makes it so there's actual features in here, and it's not just treating it as text, which is what we kind of want, right? We want VS Code to work for us and not against us. And I should say, if you are on PowerShell 5.1, you can use that in VS Code, but I personally prefer 7 for pretty much everything. Okay. How are we doing? Do you guys have any questions? Tara, I know you're newer to this. Are we following? Is this tracking so far?
It is tracking, but you're forgetting really the most important thing so far.
Oh, we'll get to it. I know what we're getting to.
Okay.
There's a dedicated section at the end where we go over some very cool extensions beyond the basics.
I do have a question already out of the gate,
Yes.
though, that confused me when I first started this and kind of still confuses me to this day. So I'm going to ask it for everybody else that might be confused. Can you tell me the difference between the top and the bottom?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to go through a brief tour of the VS Code layout because there's a few things here. If you're seeing all this at once, it can be a little intimidating, but let us break this down a little bit. Left-hand side here, which we might move this in the future, we have this Explorer. Okay, it allows us to do things like opening a folder, which is incredibly powerful. I have a Git repository. Maybe you have a repository of scripts of your own. You can open up the folder, and there you go. There's scripts inside here. There's subfolders, all kinds of stuff. Very helpful. And I'll show you one feature that makes it even more powerful. We also have right here, the editor itself. Hello, Tara.
So the top pane is my editor.
Exactly, editor.
Okay.
That's where we're going to actually edit a script, which is a file that we're going to save and run in the future. Okay, so we have things like tab completion. Okay, so we can type in stuff and not actually need to know what we're doing. Okay, where object, that's helpful.
Now, we kind of talked about a little bit about that yesterday, is if you don't install the PowerShell extension, then you don't get those built-in features with PowerShell. While VS Code can actually recognize the language and everything and understands PowerShell, but like tab completion and IntelliSense and stuff like that does not work without the actual extension installed.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I wanted to make sure I mention this. If you are like an ISE lover and this is really intimidating to you, there's something called ISE mode, which enables some things that might be a little familiar to you. I'll enable it real quick. I don't love it. I don't love this too much. I kind of prefer the more streamlined experience. So I will go back.
Dark mode, dark mode.
Doom.
Okay, so
Okay.
just before you continue, just quick question. Do you
Yeah.
suggest this experience for people who are brand new to PowerShell, or do you think this would be confusing for them?
I think that you got to try it yourself and see if it's worth adding more. So customizable. I prefer this
Okay.
for me.
Mhm.
I think everyone can be a little bit different. And yeah, if you really love the ISE, stick with ISE mode for now. I don't think that you will be using it for very long just because it feels cooler. Like,
Yeah.
you want to feel like if you're coding that you're like a cool person, you're doing all this fancy stuff, getting a custom theme. And this is not even custom. Okay. We're going to go somewhere else
Oh,
with these
yeah,
themes
yeah.
in a little bit here.
Okay.
The next thing I want to call out is, first of all, this sidebar thing, collapsible. Okay. Control B will also do that. We'll cover some hotkeys in the end. But we have this terminal thing down here. Okay. So this is where we can also run code. Actually run it though, right? It runs right here. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of things. Great stuff. What we can do also is say we're like writing a script up here. There's this thing called, I'm going to right click so you can see it, run selection. You see there's a hotkey there, F8.
Yep.
But run selection will run whatever line or whatever you have highlighted. There you go. Okay, it runs it for us. It's just a way, as you're writing a script, you can press F8 to run the line, verify that it's working. I will say that there are times, if you're working on a big script, don't be afraid to use an external PowerShell process, like in Windows Terminal or something. It can help with troubleshooting at times. Just keep that in mind that that is a thing. But those are the core parts. If you look down here, there's also other things that we don't need to worry about at this point in time. Terminal is going to be where we're going to get the most bang for our buck. And maybe in a future one, we can cover things like debugging and some of the more advanced stuff that you can do.
Okay.
Okay, we mentioned opening folders. That is a big advantage compared to ISE. So I want to show something here, which is super powerful. So we just typed in get process, right? I press Control F. You know, Control F is fine, kind of universally. And let's type in get process here. Okay, it finds it in this file, but we have a bunch of files and folders over here. And I actually don't know if this is in any other folders. Wait, where's the thing to search all projects? Oops, didn't mean to do that. It's, what is this? Find in selection. Okay, I think it's a Control Shift F, I think for the Control Shift F for the search. Yeah. So this will search all of the files, I believe. There you go. So as you can see, get, boom. We have get-p in this file right here, which we can click on. It brings us to the exact line that has it.
That's really cool.
That's powerful.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's this other thing that you can do as well, which is, you know, we have find, but we click this little thing, we have find and replace. So say you update the name of a variable or whatever the case may be, you can find all times that that comes up and you can go through them one at a time and click replace. So let's do this. So we figured out that we're not actually dealing with processes, we're dealing with services. And imagine the script is really long and there's a ton of them. What I do very often is click that. Wait, what? Replace. Yeah, there you go. Lovely. That's pretty powerful stuff. All right. There's a lot here. All of it is customizable. There is one go-to. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. There's one go-to shortcut that you should use, which for me, it's F1, right? You press F1, brings up this thing called the commands palette. You'll see people a lot of times say Control-Shift-P. Same thing. If your keyboard doesn't have an F1 for some reason.
Hey, Andrew, can I point one thing out since
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about the command palette? Something that I know tripped me up when I was first starting VS Code. So if you hit F1 or Control-Shift-P and pull up the command palette, if that greater than symbol there is not at the front, you are not getting the command palette.
I think it just looks for files there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So If
Yep.
you are wondering, like if you're just going up to that field up there, you like click into it and you're like, oh, I want to pull up the settings or I want to pull up whatever, and stuff is not coming up, it's because you most likely don't have that greater than symbol at the front.
Yep. And the thing I like about this F1, this command palette, is I don't need to memorize all this stuff. Like if you look, this is overwhelming. Come on. I use this a lot and I'm not even going to spend any time figuring it out. I'm just going to press F1 and type whatever I'm trying to do. And what I'm trying to show you here is settings. So let's just type in settings and see what's up. Okay, those are recently used at the top, so I know that these are actually the right ones. But let's imagine you don't have that. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to open up user settings or default settings, but let's check out user settings. And you see there's user and workspace. Workspace only applies to your current workspace, whereas user applies to all of you. Let's check that out. Oops, let's minimize. So what are some settings that we'd want to set? There's some easy ones, like the default language, I think. Default language. I've gone ahead and set this to PowerShell, all lowercase.
That's
and
always
I'll
the
show you
first
what
setting I set.
Yep, and it's all lowercase. I did it wrong yesterday, just so you know. I want to show you something else real quick, just to show you. Yeah. Open. I'll type in the full thing, just to be less confusing. All right, opening up the JSON. This is actually the file. It's kind of ugly. These are some of the things that I have set. I think this was set. Some of these whenever I enabled ISE mode. But there's things like autosave, obviously default language, which we just set. And if we set it through this UI, it takes care of putting it in this JSON for us. So you don't actually have to know all this. Editor tab completion. I like it on. There's our little color theme and all kinds of things. One thing I like is breadcrumbs enabled. Let's see if I can find breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs enabled. Okay. This is, it shows like a clickable path at the top of the editor, which I don't exactly like, or actually I do like it because it helps you understand where you are and allows you to jump around big scripts. This is the one that I don't like, which is enable preview. I don't know if you've ever done this. Yeah. Editor enable preview. So this makes it so that, and I'll show you here, if I click, like if I just click on this file, it doesn't necessarily, so you have to double click it to open it. It's not actually opened if you just have this preview thing, which can lead to a lot of confusion, at least for me. So definitely want to make sure that we're not using that.
Is that enabled by default?
I think so. It's one that I always make sure that I look for and disable explicitly. Some of those settings can be a little troublesome over time. There's also some things like trim trailing white space and some other stuff that we can do. The cool thing, though, is that all these settings, and as time goes on, you're going to figure out what works best for you. I recommend starting light and over time expanding so you can understand what's going on rather than just getting everything under the sun. You can use this thing called settings sync. So it can synchronize your settings. Settings sync. Okay. It allows you to synchronize your settings using GitHub or your Microsoft account. So I'm here with you, Tara. I could sync it here. I have a different machine. I could sync it there as well. Very high ceiling in terms of the customization. And that's really the benefit because this is a tool for your tool belt that will continue with you through your career, right? It's not just for PowerShell. You got JSON, you got CSVs, you got all kinds of files, maybe some YAML, whatever you have will be with you here and it'll come along for the ride.
Nice. So Andrew, one thing I want to ask you is some of these extensions, they seem scary. They seem like Chrome extensions. What do you have to say about which ones you should trust? They seem a little worrisome to me.
So there's some risks with running anything. PowerShell extension, if it's by Microsoft, it's generally, a little bit more trustworthy. You're ultimately going to have to do whatever your company decides. It's a risk-based decision. I think that using PowerShell and Live Share and anything by Microsoft is a little bit more trusted, but you also got to make room for things like VS Code Pets, which is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And it just allows things to be fun. Where do we do this? How do I enable it? F1, right? And I don't even know what I'm doing with this because I don't use it.
Spawn your pets. I love it. Spawn a pet. Start pet coding session and then throw the ball. Spawn all the pets.
Flippy.
Then you name
Oh
them.
my
You
gosh.
gotta pick the color, and then you name them, and then you throw the ball constantly, just the whole time. Look at him run! Look at him run!
Oh wow. they
I'll
love
clip you on a
me.
skateboard.
Yep. Throw the ball. Yep. And then you throw the ball with the mouse.
Whee!
I know, that's my favorite thing.
Well, that is the basics. I don't want people to be too overwhelmed because this is something that, again, will grow with you over time. You want to get started now. And as time goes on, you can worry about things like, for example, moving the primary sidebar to the right. Give yourself, it won't jump around your code as much when you open and close it with Control B. There's a lot of hotkeys as well that you'll learn over time. But I think we'll keep it there for now.
Thanks for watching this segment from PDQ Live. If you like this, you'll love the full show. Check it out every Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain. Oh, and like and subscribe, please.